shall we?
Boom! We are live. Oh man, y'all just don't know how hard it is to get this thing going for the last 3 weeks. It don't make no sense. We even had to get new computers. I done got a new computer, updated internet, all kind of stuff. I'm like, come on, man, this don't make no sense. Brother just want to teach his agents. Can a brother teach his agent? Brother just want to teach his agent. All right, anyway, so yeah, we're starting off a little late. I know we probably got some people looking at the live broadcast, so again, we apologize. But welcome to another week of the Create Your New Life Real Estate session. Brooks and Davis business training and session. Welcome to another week of it. Finally got it going. Again, this is where we come together and we talk business, we talk some training, we talk who's producing, who's doing what, and then we get into our topic for the week. So for those that are visiting with us, we want to thank you for joining this edition. We're always looking to bring talented individuals to sit down in front of and just talk a little bit about development and how you can access what we have going on here at Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. All right. As always, I like to begin as far as how to qualify for the CE credit. So it looks like I got two ladies that are going to be able to capitalize on this free hour of CE credit as you're a part of Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. I actually, right before we started, we had an agent call in asking if we were going to do the CE credit training online. And we were like, yeah, we're going to do it. So then I looked at that name and I was like, that's not a Brooks and Davis agent. It's only for Brooks and Davis agents. Unfortunately, you can't get the free CE credit. So I can send you a link to the live broadcast, but you can't get the free CE credit unless you're a Brooks and Davis agent, because you got to have that Google Hangout link to where you can come on. Like I got Simone and I got Valerie. They're going to qualify for it. So for anybody else that's interested, that want to take advantage of it, let me show you how to do it. All right. As soon as I can get it up, let's go to present. Boom. All right. So this is how these are the guidelines for getting the 1 hour of CE credit. Student must be logged in at the time of the session. Must show the instructor ID. Now I don't do the ID once I click on the live broadcast. So because I don't need to be y'all personal information to be going out onto the World Wide Web. But so you show me your ID before we log on. I'm able to see the student's face entire time. So as long as the lady stay on for the entire hour, and then we're good to go. So once the session is through, then we get your information, your name, and we go ahead and sign you up and you get your free hours. So it's a great way to compile your elective hours for when it's time to renew that good real estate license. All right. Now, at any point, I know you all are muted. But at any point, if you have any questions, you have any comments, there's two ways we can do it. You can unmute yourself. Every now and again, the mute button gets to tripping. So I also have the group chat that's open, so you can type into the group chat and if you have any questions or comments. So, all right, let's jump into this thing. Like I said, we were about 10 minutes late, so we're going to go to about 1:40, and then we'll be done. All right. So the title for today is how to make sure it is really a buyer you are working with. Because guess what? There's a lot of y'all that are working with people that ain't buyers, right? All they done was called and said they interested in looking at a house, and then there y'all go putting them in y'all car, driving them out, and showing them houses. And you ain't even seen if they're really truly a buyer. How do you know if you're working with a buyer? Well, number one, they got to have the right credit score to be able to qualify for a loan. So you need to know that. Number two, they need to make sure their debt to income ratio is the right so they can qualify for the loan, right? You got other things, maybe with taxes. Maybe they ain't filed their taxes in the last 2 years. Well, guess what? You're going to have to show some tax returns when you qualify for a loan. They got to have the amount of money saved up for whatever they deposit. Whatever their down payment and their closing costs. So these are questions that have to be had before you put them in the car and you meet with them, or before you take them to look at houses. So we're going to talk about that today on how to ensure going through the qualification process over the phone with a prospective lead, how to make sure that you're not wasting their time, nor are you wasting your time. So we're going to talk about that today. All right. So now the quote that I had connected to the description, which you all probably saw, I like this quote because it says the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is just that little extra. Now, you all probably know the championship coach, Jimmy Johnson. He was the coach of the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s. Matter of fact, he was the coach of the Miami Hurricanes in the 90s as well. And he won championships with both football teams. So, you know, I tend to listen to winners. Clearly, he's a winner. He's proven track record. So that quote I thought was very timely when it comes to the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra. In taking the time over the phone with the prospective customer that contacts you, taking that little bit of time to have that conversation with them, to ask them those questions and diagnose their situation is paramount, right? And again, it's just a little bit of extra time to ensure that the remainder of the process goes as smooth as possible for everybody, for you and for them. So that's why I thought this quote really fit with what we're going to be talking about today. So also, you know, as we continue, we're going to, you know, chime into our moment in core every week. You know, I'm really working really diligently as far as with culture and our ideology as an organization, putting that in front of you all, you know, on a weekly basis, right? So I was actually having a meeting yesterday. It was a prospective coach. She wants to come in. She's considering wanting me to be a part of her coaching protocol. But one of the things that she talked about was culture. And we had a real good conversation about culture and the importance of culture. What I was telling her is that clarity, I believe, is one of the things that as brokerage firms, even just as organizations in general, that we could use assistance in getting clarity on what they're trying to accomplish. As far as with Brooks and Davis, though, we are clear on what we're trying to accomplish. And we show that through our core ideology. So now it's a matter of the core ideology going from me and from the top and coming all the way down to everybody else so you guys can get inundated with it as well. So today, as far as our moment in core, we're going to talk about our core purpose. Now, we're not going to spend a lot of time going through it. But again, I constantly want to reiterate to you all some of the main things that are the main strings that hold us together. All right, so one of them is our purpose, and our purpose is to create a greater experience for every stakeholder of the real estate community. Okay, so you probably can't see the little line right there, but obviously that's an imprint of a shell that's in some sand, and the quote says imprints are not forever, right? And I guess it makes sense because if the water comes and washes that shell away, you ain't gonna see it no more. But the imprint that we want to leave, we want to make sure that it lasts forever. So that's why I went ahead and scratched through that good knot because ours is going to be forever. And the way that we can make sure that our imprint lasts forever as an organization, matter of fact, as you as a real estate professional and how you do business, is by doing what we strive to do, which is to make sure that every experience is greater for everybody that's in the community. So what does that mean? When we're working with a loan officer, we make their lives better. When we're working with a client, a buyer, a seller, a tenant, an applicant, a customer, for myself, particularly as an organization, a prospective agent, a title company, an inspector, an appraiser, everybody that's a part of the real estate community, we want to do our part to make that experience of them working with us the greatest experience possible. That's the purpose of Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. And that's what we do every day to execute. Everything that we do it to execute our purpose of a greater experience for every single stakeholder in the real estate community. That's who we are. And that is our moment in purpose. Our moment in core. All right. So now we're going to jump into kind of what our production looked like for the last week, right? As you all know, every week we're looking to see who's putting stuff on the board. All right, let's get some people under contract. Y'all know y'all have it in you to do it. So we're going to talk about who contributed to the board. We're also going to look at our top 5 producing agents. We're going to look at some new agents we brought in and affiliates and things like that. So this is the area of our business session where we talk about those things. So we did have some production that came in. So very excited for those that participated in getting us some production on the board, right? So as of today, we're right over to a little over 2 million. So now, as far as things that are in the pipeline, the good thing is that we're rebuilding, right? Coming out of 2018, we had to do some restructuring. We lost some people, we gained some people. We lost some production, we gained some production. So we were really coming out of December in a rebuilding type mode, even to the point of when we began getting our Create Your New Lives back going, right? So as of today, we're at $2 million worth of production that's on our board, right? So shout out to Margaret. She added some new production this week. Shout out to Kalima. She added some new production. So now I know of some other agents that I know they have new production, but guess what? They didn't give us the information, right? We need the information so we can include you not only in the production, but we can also include you on our top 5 producing agent list that we highlight every week. So that's just a reminder. We tend at least once a week, we're going to send the emails out asking if you have new production, and we're going to tell you this is the information that we need, right? Go ahead and get that information into us so we can include you on the production board, as well as calculate to see if you made the top 5 producing list, which takes me right into the next segment of highlighting or showcasing our top 5 producing agents for the week. So we have had a changing of the guard with the amount of production that Kalima brought in. It prompted her to become number 1. Now, good. I tell you, any week it can change, right? Last week, Kalima wasn't even on the board. Last 2 weeks, she wasn't even on the board. And then she comes in and starts in the number one spot. It can happen just like that, right? So congratulations, Kalima. Margaret, it bumped her down a little way. Really, it just bumped it. Kalima just bumped everybody down because last week Margaret was number 1. But again, congratulations on maintaining you all's spot as the top 5. Now look, the rest of you all, let's go after them. Let's go after these 5 agents and replace them. How do you do it? I ain't just going to be handed to you. I'm not just going to hand it over to you. You got to produce. You got to go get some clients under contract. That's what I'm here to help you do that. In every respect, I'm here. I'm available. I'm accessible. Let's work together. Let's get you on the list for the top 5 producing agents. And again, I reiterate, it's top 5 producing. So it doesn't matter how many deals you've closed. The only thing that matters to me every week is how many things are in escrow. How many contracts are you constantly? So that means it's a constantly having to continue to add people to the pipeline. And guess what? Once you create that type of business to where you're constantly adding people into your pipeline, to where you maintain your position on this top 5, guess what? You are going to be making a lot. You're going to be making the money that you need to make, that you want to make in this business, if you're able to maintain your position in the top 5 producing list. And that's why I measure that, because I know, looking at the people on that list, those are the people that's closing checks, making money, and being successful in this business. We got to get you on there as well. All right. So that's our top 5. Congratulations to them. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into our listing showcase. Our actual listing showcase. This particular agent, this is our rookie of the year last year, Tracina Morris. And I'm going to be bringing her up again later on because she's doing some things that I want you all to take advantage of. But this is her listing in Cliffwood Drive. She's only asking $625,000. Some very immaculate pictures that I want to add on the listing slide. Also, you can see the MLS number. But what I'm going to actually do is take us to the MLS write-up so we can see a little bit more about it, about this particular property. All right, so here we go. And then see kind of what Tracina is selling. All right, so this is it. Let's see. Let me make it a little bigger for you so you can see it. There we go. All right, so this is it. 10011 Cliffwood Drive. It's in Southwest Houston. Willow Meadows is kind of like Brays Oaks, over off of Stella Link, and it's like Southwest, South Post Oak. It's kind of in that area, so you can even kind of see it in the directions coming from NRG Stadium. So 610 Stella Link, West Belford, that's the area. Willow Bend, that's kind of where you're going to be with this property. The middle school, Myland Middle School, and Red Elementary School is immaculate. So if you got somebody that wants good schools, especially good elementary school, this property is ideal for you. Red Elementary School, I want to say, is 5-star rating. It has an A+ rating. I know Myland Middle School has a B, so that's still not too bad. Matter of fact, my daughter goes to Myland, so that's a good school as well. High school, not so much, but one of the things, they do have a Harmony that's close, somewhat in walking distance. So if you do have somebody that schools is important, the property still does work. Even at this price point of $625. All right, it's a ranch style 1-story home. What I really like to point out with those kind of properties is the fact that it's 3,400 square feet, 3,400 square feet, single story home, right? I mean, that right there is a very sellable feature for a property when you have a home that large that's a single story. Because now you can have all that space and not have to worry about stairs. Typically, well, not typically, homes that are that large, that are single story, they call them ranch style homes, they're going to be more expensive. The reason being is because of your foundation, right? Obviously, if you're going to have this large of a house, you got to have a larger foundation versus just putting them on top, putting the stories on top of each other. Your foundation doesn't have to be as large because you're going to have square footage on the top. But when it's all a single story square footage, these homes are going to be more expensive. Now, they did a phenomenal job as far as remodeling this home. So that's why I wanted to show a little bit more of the pictures. What's this thing doing? Hey, come on, work with me. Boom, so we can see the picture. So that's the kitchen, right? You can see that granite island they have in there, stainless steel appliances. So this is one of the beauties. I guess it don't want y'all to see the rest of the pictures. We'll go this way then. See that other way, catch up. All right, so that's the kitchen. There's another shot of the kitchen. You see the cabinets and the vent hood. All right. This is one of our this is one of our bells of the ball as far as Brooks and Davis listings. So I think it's really nice. You see all that open space? Everything's wide open, right? I mean, they got a couple of columns that separates, but this is just a shot from the living area from the front door, and you can see how everything's wide open. I think the floors are phenomenal, right? I think the floors are awesome. And again, that's just some more shots of the living area. This is the dining area. So what I just showed you was just the dining area. Again, remember, we're talking 3,400 square feet. So this bad boy has a lot of space. All right. So there's another shot from the living. All right. So that's the outside. They did repaint, put some mulch and things in there. And I really like the color scheme that they picked on this particular home. You have just your slate tile as you walk up to it. So they did a phenomenal job of of putting this one back together. So that right there was a shot of the backyard. So you can see how no, actually this is the side of the house, because this home is on a corner. It's on a corner lot. So you can see how it sits, and that's the side of it. All right, so here's let's see. So those are them the only pictures it's gonna get you. But go to it, go visit it. Here's the MLS number. Go check it out, and bring her a buyer. Let's get it sold. Let's work together and let's get it sold. If you have any questions, again, you can call the office. We can put you in contact with Tracina, or like I said, her information is on the MLS with the MLS write-up. You can reach out to her. Let's go show it. Let's get it sold. for good old Tracina Morris. All right. Now, again, things that are specific to you all as Brooks and Davis agents. Again, every week, I'd like to take about 60 seconds to highlight all these things, all these innovations that we offer as a company. Again, you know, I want to make it cluttered. I want it to look cluttered. Matter of fact, the thing that I'm going to talk about today, I haven't added to it yet. But guess what? I'm going to add to it our collage of great things that we offer, right? So these are all of the proprietary programs that we offer to you as an organization. I want you to become familiar with everything that we offer so you can utilize it, because everything that we've created, that we've designed, is in place to help you grow and build your business, and it works. I want you to take advantage of it, though. Okay, what's this all about? This thing's tripping. Come on, get out of my face. All right, so I want you guys to, what is going on? My computer's tripping. All right, I want you guys to take advantage of that. All right, now the one we're going to be talking about today is our hotline. I don't know how many of you all knew that we had a hotline, but we have a hotline that operates between the hours of 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Guess what? You should have got a text message today about to create your new life. Simone, did you get a text message? Shake your head. Did you get a text message? Valerie, did you get a text message? All right. That phone number that you got that text message from is the hotline number. If you call that number between the hours of 10 a.m. or 10 p.m., you give them your, because it's only for commission split agents. So you have to know your SAM number. When you call that hotline, you have to give your SAM number. I'm going to say it again. When you call that hotline, you have to give your SAM number. Because guess what? People see this thing's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on our YouTube channel. So other people are going to see the phone number. So other people may try to call the hotline. Well, we got to have something in place to know that it's a Brooks and Davis agent, commission split agent that we're talking to. So that's why each of you have your special agent management member, special agent member number, your SAM number. So we'll know we're only giving this goodness to people that are part of our organization. Well, this is the hotline. Again, from the hours of 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. If you call that number, someone is going to answer the phone, right? So whether you're sitting in front of a client and they just stumped you and you like, give me a moment, let me step outside, let me make a phone call, or let me take a call, or let me go to the bathroom. You leading people, you go dial that phone and somebody's going to answer that phone and deal with whatever situation that you have going on right now, right? Somebody's going to answer that phone. All right, now guess what? All of y'all have my cell phone number. You call my cell phone number, I am not making guarantees that I'm going to answer your phone call. Depends on what's going on at the time. I'm going to do my best to answer them. But look, right now we're at about 40 agents. We're going, 40 agents, 60 affiliates. So we're about 100 people total a part of the organization. We're working to get to 200 by the end of the year, right? We want to be the largest real estate firm in the state. So at some point, Mike ain't going to be able to take all these phone calls, right? So I ain't making no guarantee. But we'll always have the hotline, whether we have 100 agents or 1,000,000 agents or 1,000 agents. We're always going to have that hotline. So whatever the structure, whatever the setup looks like, when one of our agents calls that number, somebody's going to be on that other line to answer their phone call and deal with whatever questions, whatever issues, whatever situations that they have. We are serious about this. You are never alone when it comes to you being a part of Brooks and Davis. You're never in this thing by yourself, and we mean that. All right. So I wanted to highlight that program so you all constantly know that you have access to these things. You have access to these programs. So take advantage of them, right? Yeah, you can still call me on my cell phone number. I'm going to answer when I'm able to, but I'm not guaranteeing it. That number guarantees somebody's going to pick up the phone, period. All right. So that is our proprietary program, our hotline. All right. So now I had mentioned that we were going to be bringing up this young lady again later on in our conversation. And here she is one more time. Tracina Morris. This is the person that we highlighted the listing showcase for today. So it just happened to be on the same day. Again, this is one of those things that I want you all to take advantage of. Okay. Every week we do our pre-home buyer session. At least 2 times at least 2 Saturdays in a month, we do our pre-home buyer session. Okay. So now what Tracina's done, that she's offering a free home buying seminar this Saturday, March 30th at 12:30. Well, guess what? All it's doing is taking the place of our pre-home buyer session that we have every 2 weeks. She's able to white label that bad boy. Y'all familiar with a white label? Means you can put your name on it. So she's putting her name on the home buying seminar, and she's marketing it to her database. And she does it on a consistent basis. This is about Tracina's maybe fourth home buying workshop, where again, she took the pre-home buyer sessions that we do, they're already in place. And every single one of you all can do the same thing. All of our commission split agents can do the exact same thing that Tracina does. She takes the home buyer workshop that I already do, and then she creates a flyer. She puts it in front of her people. Maybe she'll bring in some refreshments or things like that. But as far as the presentation and doing the heavy lifting, that's me. Number one, I like doing it. I like presenting. I like educating, number one. And number two, it makes it easy for her to do it over and over and over again. So we work in partnership, right? I can't access her people. Those are her people. And she does a great job of building an audience, right? I can't access those people, right? She would rather not do the presentation. So I come in, do the presentation. I have the infrastructure in place. She puts it in front of her people, and voila, we come together and we take advantage of it. And our pre-home buyer session, what we do is that we are working with individuals that, number one, we're educating them about the process. It runs about an hour, depending on how many questions people have. But we're not keeping them all. I mean, it says seminar, but, you know, we're not keeping them there all day. Like, no more than an hour. The goal is to get them in and get them out. We don't want to take over their entire Saturday. But we educate them on the home buying process. We also talk about where they specifically should be in their trajectory of home ownership. We're going to talk about if they need to be talking to the lender, if they need to be sitting with an agent, if they need to be taking advantage of our financial home ownership first program. You know, we'll be able to identify that for every single attendee before they leave. They will clearly understand what their immediate next step needs to be. That's why we promote, we'll put you on track. Our goal is for them to be on track when they walk out the door. They understand their immediate next step on where they need to be. Now, how great can that be for your pipeline? Like, remember, when you do real estate, you're going to have multiple pipelines, right? So one of your pipelines could be individuals that need assistance, credit, need assistance, debt, they want to buy a house. Well, for one of your pipelines, you can have things in place with the Financial Homeownership First program. You can have another pipeline where people they're already working with lenders. You have another pipeline of people that you're working with. Well, this program, this event allows you to sift your audience, your database, bring them into a place, and then now you can sift through them to determine which pipeline that you need to put the people, right? So that pre-home buyer session, you guys white labeling and marketing it is an excellent event, and I really want you all to take advantage of it. But you know, Tracina's, again, we're having it this Thursday, and you'll be seeing more and more about it because we're going to be constantly re-showing these things, these opportunities to you. We're going to constantly be doing it so it can really sink in, so we can make sure that you all are taking care of it. I really want to get to the point to where every Saturday, an agent is being the host for our pre-home buyer session every single Saturday. And then maybe it'll filter into where every Thursday, the Thursdays that we have them, to where every single pre-home buyer session is being hosted by an agent and pushed in front of their database to get people to come through. We're still going to market it on our end, right? You all can market it on your end as well, and so you can be intentional about it. All right, awesome. So now we're going to get into our training side of things. This series, again, we're dealing with buyers, right? For the next, I think we have about 3 more sessions where we're going to be dealing with the buyer side of things. And we're going to be really looking at, we're going to be utilizing our Success in RE machine, which is another one of those programs and things that we offer to the agents, to our commission split agents. Well, before we jump into it, the first thing we're going to look at is where it all starts, and where everything that we do starts and ends with this funnel. It's our Realtor Success funnel, right? We have the 6 skill sets. We have our 6 key areas. Everything always starts and ends with this. This is our, this is the destination that we are taking every single one of our agents. Get you to the point to where you're building this. And this right here is what is the vehicle that's going to allow you to have that consistency and always putting stuff in your pipeline to where you're constantly having clients under contract, which ultimately you'll constantly be closing and getting checks, right? So that's why I call it a funnel, because again, you're going to constantly have leads. You're going to constantly be making contact and following up with them, which is going to make sure that you constantly are having consultations, meetings with people, which means you're going to be constantly bringing in new clients, which means you're going to be constantly putting these new clients under contract. And then you're going to be constantly closing, and you're going to be constantly cashing checks. That's what this model looks like. That's why we call it a funnel. All right. So today we're dealing with skill set 3. We're dealing with the buyer side of things, of that skill set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in to your Success in RE machine. Every Brooks and Davis real estate agent gets a login to this software that we created. We spent all of 2018 creating this tool that our agents can use to really help you all solidify the many nuances of doing real estate. I mean, I get it. Like, I know it could be hard to understand because there's so many moving pieces. So we created this to really help in the conversation and the development when it comes to that. All right. So we're going to spend the rest of our time doing this. All right. I'm going to go ahead and log in. Right. So, you know, when you get the website, all of you all have your SAM card. So it has the website address on your SAM card. Or you can call into the office and we can make sure we get you the link. But that's why we created the SAM card, so you can always have that information in front of you as far as the web address for this, the hotline phone number, the web address for the company store. That's why we gave you the thing. So here's my login. I'm going to click login so I can log into it. All right. It's thinking. Come on. There it is. Boom. So once you log in, it's going to take you to the start here, which is the home page. And guess what? Every one of these tabs that you hit, the Success in RE, the realtor funnel is always going to be at the top of it. So if you ever need to know what a particular skill set is, you'll always see it. So like, for instance, I'm saying, we're going to be dealing with skill set 3, skill set 4. Well, what are those skill sets? Oh, it's successfully scheduling the consultation. Oh, okay. Well, why is that important? Oh, and skill set number 2. Actually, we're going to be dealing with skill set 2. Making contact with your leads and consistent follow-up. No, that's not right. All right. So skill set 3 and skill set 4 is the one we're going to be dealing with today. Now, this series of working with buyers is not talking about lead generation. It's not talking about lead generation, which is skill set number 1. And it's not talking about lead follow-up, which is skill set number 2. I'm trying to see if I can make this bigger. Boom. Maybe not. All right. So we're not talking about skill set number 1, which is, again, lead. Oh, there we go. I know I can make it bigger. Let me make it bigger. Let me make it bigger. All right, boom. So skill set number 1 is about lead generation. Skill set number 2 is about making follow-up. It's about your follow-up protocol. So with this particular series, we're starting it at skill set number 3. And this is kind of when you're really making them a client. Like this particular conversation with the buyers is working with them as a client, how to most effectively work with them as a buyer client. So that's why we're starting with 3 and 4 and today. Now, the reason that we're starting with skill set 3, which again is like, hey, what's that skill set? Oh, successfully scheduling the consultation. Well, technically, they're not a client yet, but I had to start here because there are some things that you need to take from the qualification of the client that you're going to utilize once they become clients. So that's why we're starting with skill set number 3 on today. Like I said, when you log in, everybody starts with the start here button, but we're going to go to tab number 3, which is skill set number 3. So we're clicking on that and it's thinking. So we'll let it think for a little bit. Boom. And again, remember, it's always going to have this at the top of the screen. But guess what? We're at skill set number 3. And where it says skill set number 3, successfully scheduling the consultation. Now, the reason that I needed to go into, again, skill set number 3 is because there are some things that I want to point out. Now, I did the overview. The last time we had a Create Your New session, I introduced the new series, and then I did an overview of all the different skill sets that we were going to look at. But today I'm going to go into detail about skill set 3 and then try to do a little bit of skill set 4. But if you wanted to go back and see kind of the complete overview, then look for the Success and RE Machine. I'm sorry, the Create Your New Life session that I did March 6th. If you go look for that one, then that's where you'll see the complete overview. All right. Well, again, the reason that I needed to start with skill set 3 is because there's some things that I'm going to point out. So I'm not going to go through in detail skill set 3, just some things that I'm going to point out that we're going to utilize as we move forward. So when you're with skill set 3, it's going to talk about the rules of prospecting. It's going to talk about 90% of where all leads go, because all of that deals with qualifying a lead. But we're interested with buyers, right? It's going to give us all of the types of leads that we have. We got for buyers, for sellers, for apartments, and for tenants. Well, we're only concerned about for buyers. So we're going to click on that link and allow it to take us to the page that speaks specifically to buyers. Again, all of this is to help us dive down to the.
We live. All right. So welcome to another edition.
Oh, that's this. I scared myself. I'm like, why am I talking again? Is that an echo? All right, I don't know. All right, but so some of the videos automatically begin. All right, but this, we wanted to dive down specifically to the area of where you are. So this here is, look, I got a buyer. What do I do now, Mike? What do I do? This right here will help us with it. Now, every time we dive down and we go to a specific area, we have this green verbiage or this green excerpt. This green excerpt really gets you to hone in on what area of the complete process, how it speaks to what area of the complete process correlates to this specific one, right? So now, but if you want to see the complete process is about 4 pages. There's a couple of places that you can go to get to it. You can go here where it says click here for the complete written process for working with buyers. The complete process takes you from initial phone call all the way to closing, right? Well, that can be completely overwhelming. So that's why we needed to break it down and take this thing one bite at a time. You can access the complete process there, or you can access the complete process with this link under the video. This video is a Create Your New Life session where I spoke about the pre-qualification process or the substance and content as it related to skill set number 3. That's what this video talks about. So in addition to this video, you have that video as well to really help when pre-qualifying client or buyer client. So we're gonna just so you all can see the complete written process. So see, it starts with receive the phone call, pre-qualification questions. So it's 2-page process, and it goes all the way to the client will be closed out. See the accompanying process that's used for the virtual assistant. So that's just a view of the complete process. And we're going, as we continue with our series, we're going to be pulling that up every now and again to point out some things. All right. So now I showed the complete process. We talked about the excerpt. Now let's read a little bit about what the excerpt says. So now it says, we receive the phone call and administer the accompanying pre-qualifying questions and script for buyers. This is important, okay? Now let me tell you how important this first sentence is, especially in determining it's really a buyer that you're working with. I was having a conversation yesterday with an agent, and what happens is, especially with new agents, they get really excited when somebody that shows interest in you. When they find somebody or somebody calls and says they need to find a house or buy a house, you get really excited. And that excitement can cause you to waste your time, right? So you got to be careful with that excitement. Now, for me, because I've been doing it for over 15 years, multiple, hundreds, if not thousands of transactions, I don't get excited when a person say they need help. I've already started in my head. Well, I need to making sure what questions I need to ask, because I don't want my time wasted. That excitement, I've lost that excitement with it, right? So now I get excited when one of my agents gets excited when they get their first lead or when they get their first person. Now I feed off of that excitement now in wanting to help people. Well, I was having a conversation with them over the phone, and they were trying to get to the meeting. Like, oh, the person said they're interested. They want to do this. I'm ready to, go show them the house. I'm like, no, you didn't miss 2 steps. Not only they missed the first step, the next step, they didn't jump 2 steps into putting them in the car and taking a look at houses. And I'm not going to detail about this today, but at the end of the day, don't be doing stuff for customers that you should only be doing for clients. Showing homes should only be for your clients. Shouldn't be for customers. So don't do that. And if a person's not your client yet, right? What they say, why would you buy the cow if you give away the milk for free? I know y'all heard that before, right? Why would they ever commit if you're gonna treat them like a client when they're really not, right? So receive the phone call and administer the accompanying pre-qualification questionnaire. Now, where can you go to find that? I know that's your next step. Like, Mike, where can I go to find the pre-qualification questions and the script for buyers? Well, guess what? It's on this page, skill set number 3 in your Success in RE Machine. If you scroll down, it's right under the written process, right? All you have to do is click on it, and boom, there you go. So now you have access to the script. You have access to the pre-qualification questions for the buyer. Now, what's the goal of the conversation with the buyer, right? So when they call and now you're on the phone with them, what's the goal? Remember, we're talking about how to make sure it's really a buyer you're working with. The reason that you want to make sure that it's really a buyer that you're working with is because, well, again, you don't want to waste your time. But the phone call is important because you want to, as possible as you can, as best as possible as you can, you want to make sure you're only meeting with people that are prospective buyers. You want to do that. Well, how do you determine, or how do you ensure that the only people that you're meeting with are buyers, prospective buyers? Is from the phone call, right? All right, so what do you do? What do you say? What do you ask on the phone call? Boom. That's where the questions and the script comes to play. All right. So we can role play it a little bit. They call in, or you return their phone call, whether they're calling you or you're calling them back. Say, hey, this is Mike with Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. The very first question that it talks about is, if you didn't get their name, get their name. It's okay to ask and you know, let people know that you might not have remembered their name the first time they said it. It's okay. Just ask them, hey, I didn't get your name, or could you tell me that name one more time? People say, oh, I'm bad with names, I'm good with faces. It's because the reason that we don't remember people's names when they say it to us is because we're not focusing, right? So it happens. We lose focus. We'll miss what they said. It's okay. Ask them, what was your name? Because you want to say their name. You're talking to them. You want to say their name. It makes them feel more comfortable. It increases your chances of you being successful, which is once you identify if they're a good buyer prospect, the second thing is getting them to agree to have a consultation with you. All right. So that's a very important part of it. So you ask me your name. I didn't get your name. But then you also want to ask them, are you working with a real estate professional? Because guess what? You don't want to be meeting with people that's already working with agents. You don't do that. So ask them, are you working with an agent? Now, if they say they are working with an agent, don't just say okay and hang up the phone. You follow up with another question. Do you have something in writing? You have a written agreement with this agent that you're working with. I'm going to tell you, 75% of the time, well, I'll say 50-50. No, I'm going to say more than that. 75% of the time, they're not going to have anything in writing. I'm going to say it on camera. 75% of the time, if not more, they are not going to have anything in writing. And guess what? If they don't have anything in writing with another agent, they fair game. I'm just going to say it. If they have something in writing, I'll let them make it. But if they ain't got nothing in writing, they say they're working with an agent, but they ain't got nothing in writing, we coming for you because they're not a client. Right? They haven't hired that agent, because if they'd have hired that agent, they would have an agreement in place. We coming for you, right? So that's another one of the questions that you want to ask, or that the script asks, right? And then, you know, I'm not going to read sentence for sentence, but what I want to point out is that the script and the questions are framed to do this, right? To utilize the Ford concept. The Ford concept is where you ask them about their family, you ask them about their occupation, you ask them about their recreation, and you ask them about their dreams. That builds rapport. Doing those things builds rapport. Also, when you're asking those questions, you're looking for connections of things that you have. Like if you ask them, do they have kids, or they mention something about Little League Baseball, like if I'm talking to somebody and they mention something about Little League Baseball, I have an instant connection because my son and I are heavily involved in Little League Baseball. So that's something, a way for me to connect and build rapport with someone. So the questions that are sprinkled in here, there's a lot of questions in here that are sprinkled in here that deal with the Ford. Like, what type of work do you do? That deals with occupation. If the purchase is just for you, or are you married with kids? So that asks about family. So you're looking for connections. But the main questions that you want to ask, these Ford questions, get you, it's kind of like a kolache, right? So if you're familiar with a kolache, you have the meat or the cheese or the sausage in the middle, and around it, you have the dough. So that's a kolache. So the meat, which is the questions that you got to get answered, which are the qualifying questions, that's the meat, that's the ham, that's the cheese. The dough around all of that stuff are the Ford questions, where you're asking about family, you're asking about their job, you're asking about recreational things, the dreams. That's the dough that's around the meat. But you got to make sure, you may not ask all the questions that are dough questions, but you got to get the meat questions answered, and the dough questions help the customer remain comfortable to where you can get all the meat questions asked. All right. So what are the meat questions? These are the questions that determine if you're going to meet with them or not. The first one, again, are you working with a real estate professional? And do you have something in writing? That's the first question, right? That's a meat question. Now, are you looking to buy a piece of real estate? They say yes. Where are you in the process? Is the place, that's the conversation starter, no matter who you're talking to, because where are you in the process gets them to begin to talk. That's what you want them to do. You want to get them to begin to talk. So if you ever, you just got a client and you get you're like, what should I say next? Like you say your name, I didn't get your name. They tell you your name. Are you working with a real estate professional? Yes or no. They say, no, I'm not working with a real estate professional. Well, a lot of times at that point is where agents get tripped up. It's like, oh, well, what do I say next? They get tripped up. I got the name. They're not working with anybody. What do I say next? They get tripped up. That's where you should automatically go into so you're looking to buy a house. Yeah. So you're looking to sell whatever. Where are you in the process? Where are you in the process? Now, number one, it gets them to talking, and then it allows you to slow down and begin to think some of the next questions that you need to ask. Now, I need you to make sure that when they're talking, you got to be paying attention, because you want to look for, number one, answers to your meat questions. And you also want to assess their motivation based off of the things that they're saying. So where are you in the process is the starter question. All right. Now, again, we got some meat questions. What type of work do you do? Now you asked what, but that's a dope question. Is the purchase for you and your family? That's a dope question. All right. How long you been looking? That's kind of a dope question. How soon you looking to move? All right. So how soon you looking to move is a meat question. Because if somebody tells you they're not looking to move for 12 months or 2 years, there's no need to meet with them, right? Unless they're looking to move within 6 months or less, there's no point in having a face-to-face meeting with them, period. Right? Anything longer than 6 months is when they're looking to move. It's no point in meeting with them. So now, notice how in this question it says, how soon are you looking to move? Regardless of what their answer is, you want to ask them, why not next month? Unless they say ASAP. If they say, I'm looking as soon as I find the house I like, you don't need to ask that. But if they say 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, you want to ask them, why not next month? Right? Again, you're trying to determine if you're going to meet with them or not. All right. Now, how much are you wanting to spend per month? Again, you kind of want to know that. That's not really a meat or a dough question, but it's good to ask. Here's a meat question. How much money do you have saved up for down payment and closing costs? If they say $0, there's no point in meeting with them. I don't care how affordable of a home that you purchase. You are going to need some money to begin this process. At least $3,000. I don't care what the price of the house is. You need at least $3,000 to begin the process. Even if you get down payment assistance, you need $3,000, because you're going to have to pay earnest money. They're going to have to pay option money. They're going to pay for an inspector. They're going to have to pay for an appraisal. And all of those things are paid up front. If they don't have no cash, there's no point in meeting with them, because you can't move to the next phase. Well, that's a meat question. That's something that you got to ask. You got to make sure you get that question asked in the conversation. Okay. And again, these questions are going to determine if you meet with them. Here's another meat question. When is the last time you looked at your credit score? If they say, I know I got bad credit, guess what? You don't need to meet with them face to face. What you need to do now is get them to attend a pre-home buyer session, because the pre-home buyer session is where we deal with people that have challenges with their credit. So at that point, immediately the direction of the conversation needs to go to you encouraging them to come to the next pre-home buyer session that they're available. And once you talk to them and you tell them about it, the first and third Saturday, the second and fourth Thursday, you get them to commit to one of those days, times. Then you get their name, you get their phone number, you get their email, and you call the office and you get them on their calendar, because we're going to send a reminder text to them. We're going to do a reminder phone call to them. We just need you to get us their name, their phone number, and their email address. And then we're going to take care of the rest. But if they say they got bad credit, pre-home buyer session, not a face-to-face. But if they say they don't know, they haven't looked at their credit, or if they say that, yes, I've looked at my credit, you want to know the score. Like, don't be shy. So ask them, a way to ask them, instead of saying, what's your credit score? Because then people may be thinking that you're too intrusive. You ask them, do you have an idea of what your credit score is? Right? So now you're not asking for a definite. You just, do you have an idea? And then if they come back with, you'll be, I'm telling you, 90% of the people are going to follow. They're going to answer the questions as you ask them. So you ain't got to worry about it. But you are going to have that 10% that's going to try to buck the system, not ask the questions, answer the questions. So even they say, well, my credit's good, you ain't got to worry about it. And you just ask them again. Well, I mean, give them a range at that point. So is it between 5 and 550? Is it between 550 and 6? Is it between 6 and 650? Is it between 650 and 7? Like, just give me a range. And then people, for the most part, they're going to be a lot more comfortable and willing to give you a range if you ask them that. But the credit, that's another meat question. All right. Another meat question is, have you spoken with a bank or mortgage company about their financing? Now, there are some questions that are automatic. I'm not meeting with you, period. This question right here, that have you spoken with a bank or mortgage company about their financing, is not an automatic I'm not meeting with you question. Let me tell you why. If you talk to somebody and they tell you they have a 700 credit score, or they got anything above a 620. I'm meeting with people that have anything above a 620. I'm meeting with people. All right. If you talk to them, they got above a 620. They have about $5,000 to $10,000 saved up for down payment, but they haven't spoken to a mortgage person yet. I'm still going to set the meeting. Now, what I'm going to do though is I'm going to set the meeting, say maybe a week out, and then I'm going to encourage them or get them connected to have that lender phone appointment and go through the pre-approval process over the phone or the application process. Encourage them to do that prior to our meeting, right? So, you know, the way it'll look is that, well, I haven't talked to a lender. Okay, well, look, let's go ahead and meet. Let's say, you know, does Friday work for you? Yeah, Friday works for me. Okay, good. Before we meet, I want to make sure that I connect you with one of our lender partners. Or I want to make sure that you have a conversation with a lender. So do you have a lender, or do you need me to refer you one? So then they're going to tell you, and then yes or no. And then, you know, if they have somebody, then you encourage them, hey, well, can you go ahead and speak with your lender before we meet on Friday? Or if they don't, say, well, look, I'm going to go ahead and get you connected, have my a lender partner reach out to you, and boom, to make sure that you get connected before we meet on Friday. So I'll still set the meeting. But the goal is just to get them connected with the lender before we meet. So it's not an automatic, but it's still a meet question. You want to ask that question before you get off the phone with them. All right. So those are the meet questions, right? Those are the questions that are really going to determine if you need to meet with them. And it's going to determine if they're truly a buyer. Now, you're not going to know that they're truly a buyer until you meet. But 80% of it is going to be determined. 80%. I'll say 80 to 90% of it is going to be determined, needs to be determined prior to you meeting with them, prior to the consultation. Is 80 to 90% of it needs to be determined. Okay. All right. So now, next week, we are going to dive into when sitting in front of them, right? We're going to dive into, we'll probably touch upon this a little bit more, but we're going to really dive into when first sitting in front of a home buyer, what are the important things to make sure are done? So we're really going to be talking about the consultation and presentation, right? So we're going to make the assumption on next week when we're talking that we've gone through everything that I talked about today. We've successfully asked the questions on the pre-qualification questionnaire. We've connected them with the lender, and the lender's already confirmed that they're good to go. Now, if there is a possibility that you can connect them with the lender and say your meeting's Friday and they do what they're supposed to do, and then the lender says they're not ready. If the lender says they're not ready and they got some things they need to do, whether that's with credit, whether that's with debt, you do not meet with them. You cancel the meeting. You only want to meet with people that are in a position to be able to purchase a home after the meeting is over with. So you cancel the meeting. From that point forward, the relationship needs to continue as either them coming to a pre-home buyer session or them being added to your follow-up protocol, which is a part of skill set number 2. You do not meet with them. Let me tell you something. You do not get points from me meeting with people that are not in a position to buy a house once the meeting is over with. You don't get points. You just wasted your time. That means you're operating ineffectively. The way you're operating your business is not going to work. So you don't get any points for that. So do it the way I'm saying do it, because we want to put you in a position to where you're effectively operating your business and you're making money. These are the things that helps you get there. All right. So that's what we're going to talk about next week. All right. I'm going to close it up with a little bit of conflict resolution that I had over the week. Now, one thing I want to point out is that when you're doing business, sometimes people are going to want you to do business based on the boundaries that they have set for themselves of how they do business, right? I had a conversation with a colleague that there was a way that I do business that, because for me, I do business, you got to sign paperwork. I mean, whether you my mama or whether you some guy that I just met off the street that I don't know from, when it comes to business, we're going to put it in black and white. The reason I do that is because my relationships are important to me, and they're more important than a business deal working out or not working out. So I want to make sure that if a business deal does not work out, my personal relationship with the individual is still protected. So therefore, anything that I do when it comes to business, no matter how long I've known you, I am going to put our expectations of this business arrangement in black and white, period. That's just how I do it. Now, I get it. Some people, they want to do business with a handshake, and that's okay. But I don't. And what I want to tell you all is that you are an individual and you have the freedom. I want you to hear this. You have the freedom to do business the way that you want to do business, the way that you feel comfortable doing business. You have the freedom to do it, right? And there are going to be people that don't agree with how you do business, and that's okay. And there are going to be people that you don't agree with how they do business, and that's okay. We all have the freedom to do business how we want to do business, and it doesn't have to be one of those situations to where you have a falling out about it. It doesn't have to be a situation to where y'all can't talk, y'all frowning at each other, y'all ain't mad at each other. Like, it doesn't have to be all of that. Just respect all of everyone's individuality and everybody's individual freedoms. That's all you got to do, because at the end of the day, you don't have to operate within the boundaries that other people, or the restrictions that other people place on you, especially when it comes to business. Stay free. Stay free. All right. With that being the case, that's it for the formalized part of things. Look, we hit 60 minutes on the dot. Look at me. Look at how I did it today. But yeah, that's the formalized things. Unless you ladies have some coaching or some specific things that y'all want to discuss, we can do that. Then just unmute yourself. If not, just shake your head no and say, no, I got it. Thumbs up, Mike. I got it. I got to do the arm muscle. I'm strong, Mike. I got it. I don't need you today. Do it. Come on. Oh, I got it. Val. Come on, Val. Oh, I got it today. Can you hear me? Unmute yourself, Val. I can't hear you. You're just yelling at me. There you go.
I said goodbye.
You said bye. All right. Simone, you good? You good? Thumbs up. All right. Well, we're gonna sign out today. Like I said, we're gonna be talking about the important things when sitting in front of a buyer next week. And it looks like we kind of got all our bugs worked out. So next week we're gonna try to make this thing go smooth as pie. All right.
Thanks,
so ladies,
Mike.
I look forward to, oh, the pleasure's all mine.
Cool.
Now have a good one. Let me get my music back going so we can sign off the right way. All right, let's do it. Boom. There we go. All right, we got another one in the books. Create your new life. Real estate section, Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, brought to you every Thursday around 12:30. Come check out how we do business. Come get some training. Right now we're in our buyer series, and we're gonna keep this train moving. So you guys have a great day, and we'll be talking to you soon. Peace.